Now, I don't want to be silly about this, but it is a very passionate subject for you, clearly, because presumably it's about the jobs and livelihoods of people watching this programme and people in business across the UK. You became emotional about it. Just tell us why.
I don't recognise that at all. In fact, I've never been so clear-eyed in my life about this. But I do feel very strongly for this reason. It is absolutely right that we should be leaving the Customs Union. This is something that was a clear commitment that was made in the manifesto. But what we replace it with is of huge importance. And let me give you the reason for that. I was talking this week to the global president of Toyota Motors. They're making a big decision as to where the next motor plant should be in Europe. We've got a very successful one in Deeside at the moment in North Wales. But there are choices as to whether that should be located on the continent. Between that plant and the plant in Burnaston in Derbyshire, there are 3,500 people employed. Now, the nature of that business is that parts come, over 50% of the parts come from out of the country. They come through every hour of the day and night. They're not allowed to arrive at the plant 2 hours early or 2 hours late.
Just-in-time manufacturing.
Just-in-time manufacturing. It is highly efficient. And so what we've always said, what the Prime Minister said in the Lancaster House speech, what she said in the Mansion House speech, what we've said throughout to businesses, is that we will have a customs agreement that has the minimum of frictions. Now, that is crucial because otherwise, those men and women that are employed, and let me just give you one more feature of that. The jobs that are available there, being employed now, and there are many more in the supply chain, the average wage in the motor sector, just to take that example, is £36,000. That is hugely above, almost half as much again above the national average. It's an area in which we are strong, we are growing, the world is looking through our industrial strategy to the innovations that we're making there. So this requirement to do what it takes to get that frictionless, the minimum of frictions, is something that we've made a public commitment to, and we need to make sure that we get that right.
And why does this customs partnership, which involves us taking tariffs and then paying them back, sounds a little complicated, why does it help those people?
It helps them because if you are doing what I described for Toyota, and it applies to other firms as well, you had Arlene on earlier, Bombardier in Belfast, we had a substantial engagement there. That is fantastic. They're getting new orders. Most of their components come through in a similar way through the port of Dover, actually. And what it means is that you can import them without any checks at the border, without any paperwork, and that is a very important feature of it. But it's not perfect. Because what it means is that if we have imports from other countries where we've abolished the tariff, there has to be an arrangement put in place where you pay back. And so it is a fair observation that is a new challenge. And so what the conversation is about is making sure that we get it right.
Because there are those of your colleagues who say that going down this route would be a denial of Brexit, cretinous, and that after the cabinet discussion that you were part of, it has been destroyed as an option. It's not on the table any longer. Is it on the table?
Yes, so it was actually, as is so often the case, if you were part of this discussion, it was a much more professional, collegiate discussion than you would ever think from the reports about this. We've got three requirements for this new arrangement that would have to be in place. There is to minimise frictions at the border, as I've said.
Yep.
It's also to make sure that we can conclude free trade agreements as a sovereign nation with other countries, and as you were discussing with Arlene there, to make sure that we avoid a hard border in Northern Ireland. So these are challenging, and so it was a substantial discussion to see what we can do to be able to achieve all three.